What's going on, guys? My name is Dominic Nikolai, and today I'm going to tell you how I like to edit my Instagram fitness photos. Now, if you're wondering why you should listen to me, it's because I've been doing Instagram now for about 3-4 years, and I've amassed about 410,000 followers. I'm not saying it's crazy. I'm not saying I'm the best or anything, but I'm trying to tell you that I clearly have the somewhat of the credentials to tell you how to do this sort of thing. Now, I'm not going to be using any special programs to do this. I'm just going to be using the Instagram app itself. I'm not going to use Lightroom. I'm not going to use Photoshop or anything like that. This is just going to be for the people who are just trying to get into this sort of thing and they don't want to have to spend a lot of money on special programs and all that good stuff. So with that being said, the first prerequisite to a good photo is going to be taking the photo well enough itself. I take a lot of photos on my iPhone and they turn out great. And the trick to doing this is that you need to have your body taking up about, between 50 to about 65% of the actual space within the photo. Otherwise, it's just gonna look, not really, it's a fitness photo. So you need it to look like you're big, you're massive and stuff like that. So you need to have your body taking up a certain portion of the photo in order to achieve that. Now, if you're like a really small portion of the photo and the rest of the background is taking up 90% of the photo, it's not going to do well. People can't see you and that sort of thing. So that's out of the way. Now, the next thing would be that I said the iPhone camera is great, and it definitely is, but I've been using the Sony Alpha series of camera for about, I think, 2.5 years now. And they have a whole range of stuff. I'm currently shooting on the A7 III. That's definitely one of their higher end models, but I was using the A6000 for a very long time, and that's a very inexpensive, good sort of point and shoot camera. Although I would highly recommend that you learn how to shoot on manual mode. So the A6000 is like $600. Now, outside of that, so you have the good body composition in terms of the space taken up within the photo. You got the iPhone, you have the what camera to get now, so Sony Alpha series. Now let's get into actually editing the photo itself. So it starts out by me actually, or taking the actual photo and then basically sorting through the photo on your camera roll. So basically all you have to do with the Sony series is you just go in here and you basically download the app and stuff like that, and then it actually will download these pictures directly to your phone via Wi-Fi that the camera provides. Now, I actually had some photos you'll see at the bottom there where I'm like kind of going like this that I actually wanted to do this on, but they ended up looking like very grainy and stuff like that because I unfortunately shot on too high of an ISO. For those of you who don't know what ISO is, it's basically an artificial way to turn up the brightness or turn down the brightness within a photo without adjusting the actual aperture of the lens and or the shutter speed. So that's that. So instead of demonstrating on these photos that you see here, the original ones that I wanted to, I'm going to be demonstrating on these photos here, and I literally just shot these about an hour ago for the purpose of this video only. I don't think that these are groundbreaking photos or anything like that. I'm just going to show you what you could do, with this sort of thing. Now, it starts off with you actually picking the photo in which you feel that your body looks the best. Now, I intentionally took some of these photos at a very bad angle so I can kind of show you the difference between a good angle and a bad angle and stuff like that. And you'll notice that the good angles are the ones where I'm kind of going like this and sort of twisting my waist, making my waist look small and keeping my shoulders squared off to the camera. That's your first tip right there as far as how to take the photo. Now, so I'm just going to kind of go through here and so it's a lot of things like this. So you can see here my abs and my shadow, like the shadows of my abs look a lot better than say something like there. So I'm gonna go ahead and favorite that one, and then we're kind of just gonna go through the rest of the camera roll and see what it looks like. Obviously these are two bad photos. Well, I mean that one's okay, but the point is that obviously that looks a lot better than this. You can see that difference right there. These are kind of more relaxed, stuff like that. I'm just gonna favorite them just for purposes of showing you guys how I kind of filter through things. Now I have the favorites. Now I go into my camera roll and the favorites, and I'm basically just going to kind of go sort through these, decide which one is the best. Now clearly I like the hardest and leanest in this one, so we're going to choose that one. So now that you have your actual photo picked out, you're going to open up Instagram And instead of posting it as a square with a 1:1 ratio in terms of the framing, you're gonna do the rectangle, which I believe is a 5:4 ratio, because it's a lot better, and I mean, it's just better. I mean, what else can I say? You can see more of the background. It's a little bit longer photo, and it just looks nicer on people's feet. So I always go with the 5:4. So once you have that established, now I click next, and here is where the actual editing starts. Now, first, I'm gonna go into edit. Now, I never mess with any of these terrible filters. They're just nasty. So definitely keep it on normal for that. Now, here is something interesting. It is the little adjust icon. So you just go there, and from here you can kind of sort of zoom in and out. And this is kind of your chance to where you can even correct the photo's framing. Say if your boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, stranger took a photo of you and they didn't get the framing quite right. This is where you can kind of adjust that and correct that by zooming in. But that's also where a nicer camera comes into play, because if you try to zoom in on an iPhone photo like that, it's gonna look very grainy. But if you try to zoom in on a quality photo, it's not gonna be as grainy. So this photo doesn't need much adjusting in terms of zooming in and out, because it was taken correctly in the first place. But here's one trick that I really like to play with a lot, and it is the tilt of the photo. So I'm basically gonna make my upper body tilt towards you, and my lower body go away from you. And obviously this is gonna do mainly one thing. It's basically going to give the illusion of your upper body being closer to the camera and your lower body being further away from the camera, which ultimately makes it look like you have a smaller waist and wider shoulders. So I really don't like to play like anything over 5 and the photo just starts to look distorted. Like you can clearly see, you know, on 15 that doesn't look real, or I mean, it just looks completely distorted. So I don't play over 5. And in fact, I usually go with an average of about 2.5, so we'll just go 2.9 this time. So the photo is now tilted towards you, giving my shoulders a wider appearance, and my waist is looking smaller. So that's gonna be done. Now, the next thing I like to do is I like to go to the structure, and I don't go over about 10 on the photo, because as you can see, once you start to get to those higher ranges, it just completely destroys the photo. Like, I see a lot of people posting photos like this, and it does not look good. You know, it doesn't look real. I mean, you could tell it's edited. The goal is to make it look unedited when it in fact is actually edited. So today we're gonna get a little bit more structured, and we're gonna go with 12. So 12, and there you can kind of see the differences that we already have so far, and that's not even showing the tilt on the photo. So we have that, we have that. One thing that you can kind of play with as well, if you're kind of a paler person but you know have a little bit of olive tone skin, is you can kind of play with the saturation a bit. So I'm going to saturate the photo to about a 5, and you can kind of see the difference that made right there. So it just gives you a little bit tanner, makes the shadows a little bit deeper and stuff like that. And now there is the saturation combined with the structure so far. The next thing would be Lux, and basically what Lux does is it kind of sort of evens out the lighting in the whole photo. So in other words, if there's a really dark corner but you yourself are very overexposed, it's going to kind of bring them onto the same playing field, and it's going to kind of make it look, you know, more you know, less shadowy and less of a drastic lighting change. So, and you can see that if I put it on 15 right there, it does help out a bit in that regard. Now the next thing I like to do after I've saturated the photo, I've structure, tilted it, and all that good stuff, is I like to turn the warmth down a little bit, because typically you know, saturating the photo can kind of make you look red and stuff like that. So I desaturate the photo to about a 10, and there is all the changes that we have so far combined. You can kind of see that my cuts are they look a lot deeper. My skin tone looks more even. The lighting in the photo looks a lot better. And now the next thing you can kind of do, and you don't always need to do this, but you can kind of mess with the shadows a little bit, and going to the negative side helps to sort of bring out the shadows within your muscles and stuff like that. So we're gonna go with -10 on the shadows, and then lastly, we can kind of turn up the brightness to about a 5 or 6. So there is all the changes that we have right there. And then you're done, and that's what it looks like right there, before, and here is the after of what they both look like side by side. You can kind of see what a big difference it makes with just using the Instagram app alone to do this. So again, a quick little recap of what we did here. We did not touch the filters whatsoever. We left the photo on normal. First, we tilted the photo. We adjusted the brightness to a +5. the structure to a 12. The warmth, we took it in the negative direction because, like I said, when you saturate the photo, it has a tendency to make you look sort of red. Now we turn the saturation up to a 5, and we took the shadows down to a -10, and then we took the lux to a 15. Now, all those things that you just heard me mention, and maybe the vignette, are pretty much the only tools that I use within Instagram in order to edit my photos. Everything else is kind of cheesy and a little bit, obvious that there's a filter on there. And again, the goal is for that to not happen, but the goal is rather to take the photo from here to there while still making it look natural and sort of unfiltered. So I hope that helped you guys out. If it did, be sure to leave a like and a comment on this video. Let me know what I can improve upon. Let me know what else you guys would like to see, and I'll be happy to provide it for you. Until next time, thank you for watching.